Hello there, and welcome to Mystic Brick. Hey, this is the next standalone episode, The Good Witch, and thanks so much for being patient over this past month. I know I haven't put out many videos. Life has been a lot. But hey, I'm looking to get back into it, and hopefully we'll be producing a lot more videos in the near future. Alright, so at the start of this build here, I'm going to begin by creating the witch's hut. And you can see I put down a lot of tile work for the bottom floor already, put that fireplace in situ, and now I'm going to start building the walls. And I'm using a lot of masonry brick as well as regular brick, and then also studs and plates to give that nice weathered look. Some sloping bricks in there as well. Continuing to build up. This does take a lot longer, of course, but I think it is just a great effect at the end of the day. And there's so many different ways you can do this too. You can use ingots and all kinds of other tile and plate pieces as well to really make it pop. All right, I have that completed first floor now. You can see inside here. We'll take a look at some of those things. Lots of potions on the table there, a skull candle, a pot full of dubious ingredients. And the witch's brew recipe there, as well as a bunch more potions and then some crystals on the side there too. Of course, you gotta have a broom. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this all looks. And we're gonna head on up then to the second floor. Put in all of the little pieces here around the room, including her bed and bookshelf, and I secured those books in there really nicely so they won't be falling out. A few more potions. Got this cool little alien head inside this crystal ball here, which I think is fun. And yeah, now we're just gonna start building up the walls again and completing this floor. Making sure I put some bricks with knobs in there so that I can connect the vine to the outside. Alright, let's look ahead then to the completed hut. Here's the roof, and I used the same sort of technique as what you would find in the medieval town square set. Pretty simple but effective, and try to spruce it up a little bit with the indication of some hay on the top there. Alright, here is our completed top floor. That cool little tile in there too. Most of the tiles, the printed tiles I'm using today, are coming from K-Town Bricks. And there you can see that bookshelf holding all its pieces well. And then yeah, there's another look at that bottom floor again, all completed. And I put this off the grid, as you can see, just using a jumper plate to do that. And now I'm going to start building the pathway that leads to the witch's hut, and then also the additional pathways off to the sides. So you can see I'm using some of those printed round tiles with the wood imprint on it, which I think is cool, both the large and the small. And then filling in the rest with all kinds of other little tiles. Hey, I wanted to show you this wood stack that I built real quick. You know, because I'm making birch trees here, I wanted to make sure I had the white birch logs. And so you can see those Technic tube pieces that I'm using here, and then the connector pegs. The black ones are great for when you're building the big tree, but for these here I'm using the small little gray ones just to pop the rounded tile on the front. Pretty cool. Put the axe on top there, and now we're just gonna continue to build out that pathway. Once we've got that all completed, I'm just gonna be building up the bank here with the dark green bricks. I'll build a little pathway that's going to lead up onto that bank and toward the well. Looking good with all that, and now I'm gonna move on to building the trees. So you can see I'm putting down the rounded bricks and then also those Technic tubes and using the, Technic connector pegs to secure it all together. And then I will be using the sort of cross axles off the side there for those branches, and I think they work really well. And then ultimately I'll be putting the tail pieces to use as branches. Getting those nice yellow leaves for the birch this time of year. I found that putting those fern pieces around the base helped to secure the tree a little bit better. These do end up being a little flimsy because they're so slender, but worth it because I really think they look awesome. Both those trees looking good now. Gonna put a few more leaves down around the base, but then I think we're getting pretty close here, so I'm gonna put the hut back in situ, put a bunch of mushrooms around the base, throw some critters in there, and just fill the scene out, Put a chest chair on the back side of the hut with some strange treasure, which we'll see later. And I think it's time to now go and look at our 2 minifigs. So for the witch, her torso piece is the Agatha Harkness torso, and then the legs come from the D&D Mind Slayer, and then I built her that really cool custom stuff with the frog on the top. And for our traveler slash bandit, he's got the leg piece that came with the elf bard from the D&D CMF, and that little goat there is also from K-Town. It was a special edition, and I thought it worked well for this. Okay, let's go look at our completed mock now under some better lighting. Pretty happy with the way this all turned out. Got this fun little scene happening at the front here. Witch is selling a love potion to this traveler, and we'll see how that whole scene plays out in a little bit. This was a fun little one-off to do for sure. I really enjoyed building these birch trees, and we'll definitely be building more of them in the future, I think, in some future mocks. But now that we've gotten a good look at the outside, let's go take a look at that upper floor. Get a peek at the witch through the window here. She's pulling a book off of that bookshelf, it seems. You can see her little staff there attached to the wall. That fun little printed tile. And here's that bottom floor. She's cooking up something crazy in that pot. You can see the mustache clippings there. I love these little potions that come from K-Town bricks. They're so inventive and work well for any sort of witch diorama or mock that you want to build. Get a glimpse of her through that open door there. All sorts of oddities on that table. But yeah, very satisfied with all this. Here's just a look at that bottom floor without her in it. The little rat under the stairs there, I don't know if you caught that. Alright, returning to that scene outside now, and it seems our potential patron has turned antagonistic and wants to take that love potion from the witch without paying for it. But I don't think our good witch is going to allow that to happen, and indeed will unleash a rather humbling spell upon this unfortunate fellow. And you know, now she can put him to better use, I presume. And who's to say how many of these other little critters around here were once unruly patrons as well? Well, here is one final look at our witch and her new goat. We'll take one look around the backside again, and here in that chest are the remains of some other unfortunate soul who must have crossed this witch at some point. But hey, them's the consequences for trying to rob our good witch. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, of course, and I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. Again, I do hope to get into a more consistent pace again and put out videos on a regular basis. So thanks for sticking with me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.